Happy PCT Day. No, that's not something special. Every day on the PCT is PCT Day. It's day 92. It's July 16th. And as you can see from the background, we are making our way through more burned forest. The vastness of what's burned up here is really amazing. And most of this, a lot of this was caused in, well, there's probably a couple different fires throughout the years, but the the effects of the one we've been looking at mostly are from the Dixie fire back maybe a couple years ago. So yesterday we were in the town of Chester. It's a nice little town, some good places to eat, and expensive to stay, but we had found this wonderful place. It's called a hiker hostel, but in essence it's really just a guy who decided to open his house and allow hikers to camp in his yard, and puts out a lot of snacks and drinks, and has like an upper floor so you can use the kitchen and bathroom. It's just a very nice thing that he does, and really a welcome place to stay and hang out with all the other hikers, considering how much a room in Chester costs. One person I know who got a room paid $200 for a night. So it's a really cool place to hang out. Chester, the town of Chester itself was saved from the fire. And it's amazing because when you drive in or out of the town, you drive for miles through a complete wasteland, basically. And crews have been out there taking down dead trees. So it's just like mile after mile of burned, scraped free ground and stumps and everything like that. So obviously they did an amazing job to save that town. In the meantime, everything else around it burned. So this presents kind of one of the different dangers on the trail, because these trees fall all the time, and in any weather condition with wind, you really have to be aware of what's going on around you. So that occurred to us last night. We and just all the hikers are approaching the Lassen Volcanic National Park. And the PCT runs through a very small, to be specific, 19-mile corner of the park. And within that park, there is a bear can requirement. Of course, everybody sent their bear cans back a couple of weeks ago. And this is really the last place where you need an actual hard-sided container. So what people do is they hike out of Chester, and they hike as far as the boundary, and then camp for the night. And then the next day, you just have to make sure you can, do more than 19 miles. And since most people here currently are doing mid 20 miles, that's not a problem. But plans change based on the weather, and as we started hiking, storms came in. These are the first rainstorms we've seen in months, and there was a lot of thunder, and it did rain on us while we were hiking, just light showers, which we just pretty much ignored. And but when we started looking at the notes and comments, it became apparent that all the trees at the boundary of the national park were burned. And in a storm situation, nobody really wanted to be there worrying about trees falling on them. So we wound up only going 10 miles and found this closed campground, Domingo Springs Campground, or as Domino. Springs campground, I think. And it's actually a closed campground. I don't know what it's being used for, but all the PCT hikers go there anyway. And which is nice because one of the pit toilets are open, and it's always nice to actually stay in a campground. The level sites, good ground. Most of the trees were alive, but even with that, the storm came through, the thunder came rolling through, and we all had to scurry for our tents just for a little while. It blew through quickly, but when it did, you could hear branches falling outside the tent. I didn't hear any whole trees fall, but some of these, you can look up into these trees right here, and you can see all the little dead branches. And they just break off and fall. And you can hear this happening all night. Anytime you wake up, you just hear little cracks and pops. And so, really glad we did not go to the boundary, because it might have been really dangerous. So, funny story coming out of Chester yesterday. When we get into town, we did the usual chores. We had a big meal, and right across the street was a laundry, so we went and did our laundry. I managed to leave my sun hoodie that I'm wearing in the laundromat, which is a real annoyance because I really like this sun hoodie. It does a fantastic job. I didn't want to have to buy something new, and I realized this very late after it had closed, that I hadn't seen it for a while. So in the morning I got up, and the little hostel had bicycles, and I started riding around. I went to the laundromat. I went in. I checked all around and behind everything, and I looked in every trash can. The trash had been emptied from the day before when we were there, and that was really annoying. So I resigned myself to having to buy something. There were three possible places I could find something in the town, and so I rode the bicycle to them later on. The first was a sporting goods store, and I said, "Do you have any sun hoodies?" And the lady said, "What's a sun hoodie?" So no joy there. I went to a fishing tackle shop because sometimes they sell hooded fishing shirts, but they didn't have anything. And finally I went to a thrift store. I did find something at the thrift store, long sleeve, no hood, and the lady gave it to me for free because there was a big stain on it. And I guess apparently that was too lowbrow for the thrift store. But I was really annoyed by the whole thing, and bitching and complaining to my friends. And as we went out of town, we went and stopped and got breakfast, and we were walking past the laundromat. We walked over again. One of my hiking partners, Sandman, not to be confused with Sandstorm, because I got two Sands walking with me now, but he went in, and I guess he noticed that there was, there's supposed to be a manager on site, but the place is for sale, and there is no management. Everybody's complaining about it, but he notices there's a phone number out front. He calls it, and somebody on the phone told him that a cleaning crew had found it and thrown it in the trash, which doesn't make sense because I looked in the trash. But he walks in, sure enough, looks in the trash, moves some things around, and there is my hoodie at the bottom of the barrel. So, I don't know. Either I was blind or it just did something different, but all is well otherwise. And today, of course, we're going to get across this chunk of national park. I think it should be interesting. The landscape has changed. Some of the rock formations have changed, and the trail changes here and there. And yeah, we'll see what happens later in the day. Until then, from the charred forests of Northern California.